for slamming meds and slaying monsters. Or are they monsters? Or are they nightmares? Or both? That's right, it's Lobotomy 2 Manhunt from Titan Forge Games. In this nightmarish asylum crawler, 1 to 5 players take on the role of patients trying to escape a mysterious psychiatric hospital turned hellish nightmare prison. Normal stuff. The game comes with an introductory scenario for learning the game, but we're about to show you how to set up and play Lobotomy no matter the game mode you chose. Setup begins with scenario selection. Place the map tiles according to the entry for your chosen scenario, then place the closed door tokens, breach tokens, and wall tokens as depicted. Set the locker tokens listed in the scenario face down, randomized. Next, for each monster in the scenario, take their corresponding miniature and monster card, placing them in a monster pool nearby. Then place a number of miniatures on the board as dictated by the scenario. Create a meds bag filled with the meds tokens, as well as a junk bag filled with all the junk tokens. They're called that, I'm not calling them junk. Separately shuffle and place the weapon deck, equipment deck, spawn cards, placed near the monster pool, and disorder decks by type. Also place the dice nearby, which come in 4 colors. You've got your green, that's basic attack dice, red are stronger attack dice, blue are basic defense or test dice, and brown are stronger defense or test dice. Then prepare the daily nightmare deck or scenario deck, depending on your chosen game mode. Create a supply of various tokens within reach. Generally speaking, the hunt track is comprised of 12 face-down hunt track cards laid out in 2 rows. You're going to set aside the Aura of Insanity card and shuffle the remaining hunt track cards, dealing out 5 into 1 row. Place the Aura of Insanity as the last card in that row, then deal 6 more cards into a second row. Set the Hunt Master next to the top left of the track. During the game, players will move him along the track following this direction. Each card is considered 1 space. When he first arrives at a space, players will flip the card and apply its effects. Now it's time for character selection. Lobotomy 2 is meant for 3 to 5 characters. Each player chooses a character and takes the matching character card, blue side up, and miniature, which will be placed on the starting location shown on the scenario map with this symbol. If the player count is less than 3, players should take multiple characters. Characters also take their basic equipment card and choose a basic weapon card. Place these next to each character card, along with 1 randomly drawn med token from the meds bag. These starting items are considered to be in the player's loadout. We'll get to the loadout later. Each player also draws 1 disorder card from each disorder deck that is listed on their character card, placing those nearby. 1 player takes the first character token and reads the start of the chosen scenario, distributing any reference cards as needed. Before we jump into the game structure, let's look at a few important components and concepts to know about the game. Character cards have a name and insane art, a health value, starting disorders, attributes, strength, dexterity, imagination, and wisdom, and innate abilities. Additionally, there's an upgraded version of each character on the reverse side, known as its insane version. Dice rolls are used to resolve attacks and defense and attribute-based skill checks. In addition to their different types, they also have custom symbols. Lobotomy spike, it's not as bad as it sounds. It's a hit during attack rolls. Lightning bolt, which triggers special effects. Star, which provides a success on tests, not on attacks or defense rolls. Insanity, which gives the player an insanity token on certain rolls. Shield, which is a success in defense rolls. And shield with the star, which is a success on defense rolls and tests. Meds represent the various pills and other medicines found around the hospital. These can be spent to roll an additional die matching its color during a test. This occurs after the first roll happens, so players get to see if they succeeded before making this choice. Gameplay occurs in rounds, each divided into 2 main phases, the player phase and the monster phase. Both of these are divided into a number of sub-phases. Let's look at the player phase first, which is split into 2 sub-phases, the maintenance phase and the character actions phase. In the maintenance phase, which is skipped in the first round, players pass the first character token to the left and remove one cooldown token from each card with at least one token on it. I'll come back to what cooldown means in a bit. Then, in the character actions phase, each character, in turn order, takes a turn consisting of actions. There are a number of action options in this game. On each turn, a character has 3 action points to spend on any of these options. Let's look at some of the actions. Move. This costs 1 action point and provides the character with 2 movement points, which they can spend to either move to an orthogonally adjacent space or to open a door located on their space for 1 point each. Map tiles contain a number of spaces, each divided by a mixture of walls, doors, and white boundary lines. Characters cannot move through closed doors or onto any space with 2 or more monsters. Additionally, they can't move from a space that contains a monster unless that monster has a flea symbol on its card, which lists the requirements needed to run for your life. More details on movement are on page 30 of the rulebook. Attack. Also costing 1 action point, attack allows the player to use a weapon card or their basic attack to attack a monster. To perform an attack, the player will select a weapon to use and a monster in their space or space within range if they're using a ranged attack or ability. For ranged, a character must have line of sight. Line of sight is pretty self-explanatory. It can be achieved through gaps in walls and open doors, but you're going to want to check out pages 13 and 14 for the rules for some thorough examples. Then, the player gathers green dice equal to their key attribute on their chosen weapon card, along with any additional dice from bonuses, upgrades, or through the use of meds. If a character has no weapon, they can perform a basic attack, rolling green dice equal to their strength attribute. The player also gathers any blue and brown defense dice listed on the monster's card, then rolls all the dice at once. If they roll any insanity symbols on their attack dice, not the monster's defense dice, they gain 1 insanity token per symbol rolled. They then count the hits and subtract any shields the monster rolled. The result is the number of wounds the monster takes. If this number exceeds its health, the monster is defeated and removed from the board. Defeating a monster forces the player to take 1 insanity token, and they gain 1 random junk from the junk bag for each elite or boss monster defeated. Back to the actions. Ability action. This costs a variable amount of points depending on the ability used, whether it's from a character card, equipment, weapon, disorder, or scenario-specific effect. Some abilities have cooldown, which places a number of cooldown tokens on their card when it's used. They can't be activated again until those cooldown tokens are gone. Remember, 1 is removed during each maintenance phase. Some abilities also have a once per turn symbol, so keep an eye out for those. Change loadout action costs 0 action points, but can only be used once per turn. This allows a player to change out their weapon and armor cards in their current loadout. A loadout consists of up to 2 weapon cards and 1 armor card. Any other cards are considered stashed in a character's inventory and provide no benefits or uses until moved into their loadout. Characters can only carry up to 6 items. Loot action allows the character to search their current space once per round for any useful junk by spending 1 action point. They gain 1 random junk token from the junk bag. These can be used to upgrade some weapons and equipment cards. More on how upgrading works in a sec. Trade action allows the player to swap item cards, meds, and junk with other characters in their current space. Gain disorder card action is a free action in terms of action points cost, but it costs 6 insanity tokens and can only be used once per turn. The character gains the top card of the disorder deck. Characters can only have a max of 4 disorder cards, and they must discard any beyond that. Upgrade actions come in a variety of types and allow a player to spend junk tokens to upgrade a weapon or equipment card, spend 6 insanity tokens to permanently increase an attribute up to a maximum of 3, or spend 6 insanity tokens to upgrade their character action. Now, this can only occur once the Aura of Insanity Hunt Track card has been revealed and the character has completed their personal quest. This flips their character card to the insane side, providing upgraded actions. And that's the player phase. Once all players have taken a turn, the monster phase begins. That's what we're really here for, right? Players proceed through 5 sub-phases, resolving the monster movements and attacks. First up, in the hunt phase, the hunt master moves 1 step along the hunt track. This might change based on the scenario you chose, but one constant remains. If the hunt master reaches the end of the hunt track, the players either lose the game or a final confrontation begins. Then, in the boss monster phase, any boss monsters perform their move and attack actions if possible, moving toward the closest character with the players deciding the result of any ties. Monsters take the shortest path to a character, traveling through doors, open or closed if needed. A monster passing through a closed door keeps the door closed, because monsters are polite like that. Monsters move a number of spaces up to their movement value, stopping when they reach a character. We'll explain monster attacks in a sec. Then, in the basic and elite monster movement phase, each of those monster types moves towards the closest characters. They don't attack quite yet though. In the spawn monsters phase, players in turn order each draw a card from the spawn card deck and place the listed monster on the indicated space of the board closest to that character. Some spawn cards also show an event number which corresponds to the specific scenario. If a reshuffle card is drawn, the spawn deck and its discard are shuffled together and the players are spared 1 monster spawn. For now. Now, in the basic and elite monster attack phase, those monsters attack. Each one with a character in their space or within their line of sight and range for a ranged attack targets the character with the least amount of health. To resolve the attack, gather the green and red attack dice listed in the monster card and add the blue and brown defense dice from the character's armor card or skills, effects, meds, and equipment. Roll them bones and count the hits, minus any shields, and add 1 hit for each monster that has already attacked the same character within this subphase. The resulting number is the amount of wounds the character takes. If this exceeds their health, they're dead. When a character dies, their miniature is set on its side and they are ignored for other in-game purposes. The Hunt Master then moves 1 space on the hunt track, but don't reveal this card yet, that's going to occur in the next hunt phase. In most cases, a character can be respawned, depending on the timing of the death. See page 37 for more details on that. That's the turn structure. Rounds continue with players attempting to escape or complete the objectives of their scenario. If the Hunt Master reaches the end of the hunt track, the players are either captured and sent back to their cells, or they enter a final, fatal confrontation with the Hunt Master himself. That depends on your scenario, and I'm not spoiling anything. And that's the basics of Lobotomy 2 Manhunt. For all the details on the scenarios, events, and more, you're gonna have to check out these extensive rulebooks. I'm Becca Scott. This is all that's left of Good Time Society, and I need you to hit that like and subscribe button. It'll help restore my sanity. Then be sure to come on back for more great games and good times. See ya.